Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambujanmane Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaika Karmane. In verse number 45 in chapter 2, Panchabhuta Viveka, Sadbuddhiraji api chet nasti ma tu asya ma astu asya swayam swaprabhavatvaha nirmanaskatva sakshitvat sanmatram sugamam runam. From the standpoint of Buddhists, who is claiming that there is only non-existence and there is no absolute reality at all, Sad buddhihi api na asti chet. His objection is, even the so-called absolute existence you are talking about as the nature of the self or Brahman is also not true. Then the answer to that question is, the pure existence, absolute existence, does not require something else to prove it. For example, if I say, I have kept a book in the next room and go and pick it up, if I tell you, until you go there and look at that book existing there in the table in the next room, there is no proof of its existence by itself. Until you go and see it, its own existence is not revealed to anyone. Because an inert thing cannot reveal itself. When you say Brahman needs something else or somebody else to prove its existence, it is not so. Why it is not so? Swaprabhavatvataha. Prabha means to reveal. Swaprabha, revelation, self-revelation. Swaprabhavatvat,
of the nature, because of the nature of its own self-revealing nature, its ability to self-reveal. So, Prabhavatvataha is a Panchami. It's in the fifth case. The cause, the reason is, that's what he said. The reason why I say that Brahman is in the absence of everything, because it is of the nature of self-revelation. You may see nothing, and therefore you say there is only nothing. But Brahman is that of nature of pure existence, which is present in the absence of everything, and it does not require something else to prove its existence. And when do you come to have that? Nirmanaskatva sakshitvat. Because even as the absence of the mind and its modifications are also, one is aware. Nirmanaska, the state of no mind. Tasya sakshitvat. Even the ability to know the absence of the mind. Sanmatram. It's a pure existence. Sukhamam Rana. It's very Sukhamam here, Sushtugamam. Once we reach the state of consciously, when we reach the state of no mind, why I'm saying consciously? Because in sleep also one reaches that point, unconsciously. Just before coming to this class, I had a satsang for the Seattle. The question was raised, what is mithya? Now you see, when I am in the state of dream, I come to see a world which is experienced by me as it is happening as though outside me. In dream, my experience of the dream world is that which is experienced by me through my senses. I can see my dream, I can hear my dream, I can smell in my dream, I can taste in my dream, I can walk in my dream, I can run in my dream, I can shout in the dream. And I am doing all that in the world which is created by me, and it is experienced by me as though it is happening outside me. Until I wake up to know that Bahihi na sa asti, na asit. Bahihi na asit, meaning it was not outside. Sarvam antareva. Everything was happening inside me. Parantu, even though it is so, Swapna samaye bahiriva drishyate. In the time of sleep, the dream, bahiriva drishyate. That's why in Dakshinamurti Stotram, what is the first verse says? Vishwam darpanamana drishya nagari tulyam nija antargatam, even though equal to that which is inside you. Pashyan atmani mayaya bahihiva, even though it is happening inside, he is seeing it as though happening outside. But then what happens? Pashyannatmani mayaya bahirivo udbhutam yata nidraya. Until the time when he wakes up. So when he wakes up, he comes to realize all that I have seen outside, experienced by me outside, actually is happening inside me. In the same way, when the manovritti takes place, where is the thought process takes place, the thoughts are perceived by me, consciousness. And since the thought processes are all happening and I do not experience the self-revealing nature of my own existence, and my existence is as though depending upon manovrittaya. In the absence of manovritti alone, one comes to realize that my existence is not depending on them. Not even one thought should be there. Nirmanaskatva sakshitvat. This is a sadhana for us. It is not just a statement of fact. आत्मज्ञान का अनुभव कैसा होता है और कब, कथम आत्मज्ञानम अनुभवितुं शक्यते, अनुभव का मार्ग क्या है? Where you reach the point of nirmana, not nischalamana, nirmala. Nirmalaha, nischalamanah, nirmana. Pure nirmala. Nischala, changeless or agitationless. Nirmana, no mind. At that point, sakshitvat sanmatram, as pure existence, sukhamam. Now, to explain this a little carefully, the next verse we'll read. Manojrumbana rahitye yata sakshi nirakula maya jrumbana tas purvam sattataiva nirakulam. Maya jrumbana rahitye yata sakshi nirakulah maya jrumbana das purvam sattataiva nirakulam. एवं निष्प्रपंचस्य साक्षिणः तूष्णीं स्थितौ बाणं प्रदर्शय एतत् दृष्टान्तत्वेन दृष्टान्तबलेन सृष्टेः पुरापि सद्वस्तु तदा अवगन्तुं शक्यते इति आह. एवं, in this way, निष्प्रपंचस्य, absence of the world, साक्षिणः tushnim stitau, when a person reaches the point of absence of completely the thoughts in the mind and comes to recognize the absence of the world also, pradarshya, and that how one comes to know about it, the pure existence of awareness, which is present in the absence of everything else. Drishtanta balena, with an example, Srishtehe pura api. Even before the creation of this world, tata avagantum shakyate. In the same way, one should know. Srishtehe pura api atma asid. Even before the creation, that's why I said in Bhagavatam, the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, he said that I was there. Ahameva asid. Before the creation, I am alone was. Ahameva asamevagre. Ahameva asamevagre. Agre, beginning. Ahameva asam. I alone was. Nanyat kinchit. Nanyat satasat param. Paschadaham yate tasya. Yovatishtati That is also me only. Even as I was there alone by myself before the creation, even presently, when all things are all there, even then I am. And everything becomes absent at the time of dissolution, I alone will remain. This is a statement we find Krishna talking in Bhagavad Purana. First among the four shlokas, revealing his nature. Manojrumbana rahitye. Jrumbanam is the movement. Jrumbana. The movement of the mind. Manojrumbana rahitye. When this movement of the mind called mentations, when the mentations were not there, yatha, as we experience, sakshi, the witness consciousness, unconfused, nirakula sakshi. As the commentator here, if you have this book by Chinmaya Mission, it very clearly says, the existence, pure existence, without any identification with the thought, can never be disturbed. And its existence, independent of everything else, in whose presence alone other things also are able to function. I was thinking about it. I'll give you a funny incident about a funny incident. I'll tell you. Once, when we had the Balvihar in person a few years back, maybe say in 2018 or so, before I go into my class, Sunday morning session, I just would watch from the window, from outside, from my window, the people coming and dropping the children, parking, and then getting into the our venue, our facility. And all of them, almost all of them, come 5 to 10 minutes before the starting of Balvihar, not before that. There's so much of rush on the road, and everybody is trying to get in fast. So always there is a kind of chaos, certain amount of chaos. And then our efficient volunteers make sure that they are in a mood properly. So usually what we tell is that you go and park and then bring your children walking into the facility. Many of them won't do that. They will try to stop there, get the children out, and then go. Either they go and park or they go home. Which we do not want them to do. You go there, park, and come with the children into the facility. So there usually a lot of delay because everybody stops and then get the children out. Then they come slowly, and then it gets piled up. Once it so happened, I was watching from the window. Everybody is going without any problem. Nobody stopped near the door. Near our entrance. Everybody went to park. So I said, what is happening? How it is happening? Suddenly, you know why? There is a police car right there, opposite parking lot. The volunteers were completely, freed from that very task. Everybody very smoothly went. Nobody stopped in the middle of the road. Went there and parked, and then brought the children through the this wide walk. So I was wondering, yasya sannidhi matrena. By mere presence of that police car, everything was going on so well. So at the end of the my session, etc., I was very curious because the police car was parked there. So how is that a cop was standing over there for so long? So I walked across to the parking lot. Usme koi nahi tha. The car alone was there. There is nobody there. Only car, that very sight of the car is sufficient. Everything will go on. Why I'm bringing that point to you here is Sakshi Matram, Sanmatram. It is just present. That's all. Atman is just present there. It is not engaged in anything that is going on. It simply is, as it is put. But it is not participating in anything else. It just is. Now, what is the Sakshitva in this? That is what he says. Sakshitva, when it comes, it starts to notice, right? Mere presence does not mean it is doing the function of observation. Because observation is possible only when there is a relationship in the form of at least looking at it. See, if some of you are open the computer and put on, and you are sitting there but not listening, then what are you? Not even Sakshi. What I'm saying also you don't know. Then you are Sannidhi Matram. You're just staying there. After some time, ask, what did I say in the class? Kisko malum hai? Who knows? Why? Because I was just present, not listening. So here, Mano Jrumbana Rahitye Yata Sakshi word is used here. So the observing consciousness, Nirakulaha, because non-participation. Here non-participation means not taking sides. Oh, this thought is good and this thought is not good. I would like to engage in this thought, leave that thought. Then this kind of a discrimination is going on. Then obviously there is Akula. Akula, confusion, agitation. Not confusion, agitation. So there is no agitation because it is not participating, it is just watching. Even in a game that is going on, India versus Australia. Okay. I am an Australian resident citizen, but I am actually an Indian. Which side or which team which should I support? Would I support? As a citizen of Australia, then I should identify with the Australian team. But actually, my parents are all from India. So I feel that I am also an Indian, basically. That if I am neither interested in Indian team nor interested in Australian team, somebody has to win in any game. Somebody has to win. Let me enjoy the game. Then I will not be agitated if India wins over Australia or Australia wins over India. It doesn't matter to me because somebody has to win and it doesn't matter. Then you are a Sakshi. You're not taking side. You're just watching it. So Mano Jrumbana Rahitye Yata Sakshi Nirakula. But presently, that is not our condition because the moment a thought arises in our mind, we own it up. ऐसा वृत्ति आ गया इन मेरे मन में, ये कोप वृत्ति है, क्रोध वृत्ति है, काम वृत्ति है. So when we identify with the nature of a particular thought, then we get absorbed in that and we become angry or become greedy. Please understand one thing, that a thought that is superimposed upon the consciousness, apparently, again the word apparently, apparently it looks as though consciousness is contaminated by this vritti, thought, because you are looking at yourself through the thought, not from the state of consciousness. From the standpoint of the vritti, when you look at it, you look as though you are angry. From the standpoint of consciousness, you look at it, vritti is vritti only. There is no relationship. It is like when I'm looking at the sun through the cloud, it is clouded. From the sun standpoint, it is not clouded. From my standpoint, I'm looking through the cloud, then it is a cloudy day. Kanachanna markam, kanachanna drishti. Clouded, the sun is being covered as though by the cloud. It is not covering the sun. It is covering my eyes. At the present moment, we are experiencing ourselves as dictated by the nature of our thoughts. Identified with the thoughts, I'm angry, I'm lusty, I'm greedy, I'm jealous. So if you can understand that these all thoughts, I am not any one of the thoughts, I am only a sakshi. Okay. When the before the creation, Maya Jrumbanataha Purva. Just like the Mano Jrumbana, Maya Jrumbana. Mano Jrumbanam taking place in the individual. Maya Jrumbana is creation of all the names and forms in this universe. Before that, what is the nature of consciousness? Nirakulam Sat Tata Eva. Before the mentalations, the thought processes that were taking place, before that was also consciousness was present. And as the thoughts arise, it is still present as a sakshi. When the thoughts disappear, it doesn't disappear. It is still there looking at the absence of it. So it was there before the thought came. It is there while the thought is existing. It is there after the thoughts have disappeared. In the same way, before the creation also, there is the presence of pure consciousness in the same condition without any change. Tata eva nirakulam maya vijrumbhanataha purvam. Before the activity of the Maya, before the function of the Maya, Sat, the pure, Tata eva is Nirakulam, unruffled, calm. So if the Buddhist says that when the thought is present, there is a thought consciousness. When the thoughts are absent, there is non-existence. No. When thoughts are present, there is existence which recognizes the existence of the thoughts. In the absence of the thoughts, there is no absence of existence, because the absence is also known by the one which is not a thought, which is a pure existence, for which there is no other need for a proof. There is no need for other proof. So existence continues to be irrespective of the presence or the absence of the thought. This is called quintessent consciousness. A pure existence which is even prior to the creation and also posterior to creation. When the creation ends in dissolution, when the names and forms are no more, there is the presence unquestionable presence, and that is the nature of Brahman, the self. Now, next question that is rising up here is the power called Maya, which is capable of creating names and form. The power resides where? What is the abode of Maya? So we'll see in the next verse here, verse number 47. Nistatva karya gamyasya shaktir maya gnishaktivat nahi shaktihi kachit kaischit buddhyate karyata pura. Nistatva karya gamyasya shaktir mayagni shaktivat nahi shakti kvachit kaischit buddhyate karyata pura. Agni shaktivat. Agnehe shaktihi, agni shaktihi. Agnehe shakti. The power of the fire. Agnehe shaktivat asya shaktihi, asya brahmanah shaktihi. So, nistatva karyagamya shaktihi nistatva nahi. Meaning, tattva here means substratum. Nistatva, without the substratum, asya shaktihi, brahmanah shaktihi, maya, which is known through karya gamya maya, known through only the effect. Karyanumeya sudhiyeva maya. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, otherwise you would not never know. How do we know the nature of maya? You cannot know the nature of maya because you cannot define it easily. Avyaktanamni paramesha shaktihi anadya vidya triganatmika para karyanumeya sudhiyeva maya yaya jagat sarvamidam prasuyate. Yaya, by whom? Idam sarvam jagat, this whole world, prasuyate, is delivered, is created. Yaya, by whom? That is one is called Maya. So, jagat hai, ye karya hai, jiska karan. Iska karan kya hai? Jagataha karanam Maya. Jagat is a karya. Karyaya anumeya. By the effect it is known. Directly it cannot be known. So, now you see, as the power to burn exists in the fire, so the power of Maya, which has no independent existence without Brahman, and it is only known through the effect, Karyanumeya, Karyagamya. It exists in Brahman as a Shakti. Which is to say, just like the fire plus its ability to burn is the one which is existing in the fire and it cannot exist independently. And how do you know fire is capable of burning? When you put something, it burns. No, you see the effect, right? When I put something into the fire, it gets burned. Now I know the power of fire. That is called Karya Gamya, Shakti. In the same way, without the creation, please note, without the creation created by Maya, which is the power residing in Brahman, depending on Brahman, without that creation, I cannot know the presence of Maya. Which is amount to say, before the creation, was there Maya? How do you prove its existence? You cannot, right? So, which means to say, Maya has to exist in something which is positive, which is there before the creation. Maya cannot have its own independent existence, because if it is an independent existence, it can be known by itself. But it can be known only after it becomes an effect. Effect being creation. So if it is known only through the effect, what makes the effect possible when the Maya is expressing itself in some form? And for its own existence, it needs to exist depending upon something else. And that same something else must exist before the creation. And which means the Brahman must exist before Maya. Because next, the argument will come later. The owner of the power must exist before the power comes to him or her. Without the exist, even at least few seconds before, you should be there. Because the Shakti, the power, which has no independent existence, cannot be there before its abode. So the creation, if it had not been, there cannot be proof of Maya's presence, which essentially expresses as creation. Nama Rupa Jagat. If it had independent existence without Brahman, then it can be known by itself. It is always with the help of the presence of the conscious Brahman, it is able to produce the names and form. Now, because the names and forms require a substratum. Without the substratum, how can it be? For example, can the snake appear without the presence of the rope? You're not seeing the snake in the middle of the sky or somewhere up in the hanging. You're seeing only in the rope, which means to say a rope should have been before the snake came into the existence, right? The illusion of snake must be only projected upon the rope, which was already there. So the prior existence of the rope has to be there for this posterior superimposition of the snake. And snake cannot exist independent of that rope. In the same way, prior existence of Brahman before the expression of Maya to take place. And the wielder of the power must have been there before the power. Now, if you say, no, it can be simultaneous existence. Along with the power of Maya, only Brahman exists. It is already there with Brahman as even he. But we can say, we are here saying, being of the nature of eternality, Brahman is eternal. So it is not depending upon Maya for its existence, number one. Number two is, even the proof for existence of Maya along with Brahman, if you say it's always there with him, Maya has always been there with him, even if you say so, then its existence cannot be known until it becomes an effect, right? You can only posit it as a proposition, but you cannot prove it. Brahman always has got Maya as his power. Yes, it may be, according to you, but its existence cannot be proven until it becomes an effect. Karyatah pura na kaschit kaischit buddhyate. That's the next line. Karyatah pura shaktihi karyatah pura. Meaning, before the effect, this power, kaschit, by anyone, kaischit, by any method, na buddhyate. That's not known. Which is to say, even if you propose the idea that Maya had been there always with Brahman, it cannot be proven to be so, since directly it cannot be known. And if it is indirectly to be known, only when it has created the Namarupa Jagat, its existence can be known. Therefore, to merely propose that Maya has been there always with Brahman is not a logical conclusion. Or even to the extent you would want to say Maya, Brahman depends upon Maya for his own existence, is also not right. As much as the owner of the power need not be depending upon the power for his existence. Now, that is explained in the next verse as we proceed here, verse number 48. Na sadvastu sadashaktihi nahi vakne svashaktita sadvilakshanatayam tu shakti kim tattvamucyatam. Na sadvastu sadashaktihi nahi vakne svashaktita sadvilakshanatayam tu shakti kim tattvamucyatam. You see, Sadaha of the substance na sadvastu shaktihi, the power of substance is not the substance itself. Sadaha shaktihi na sadvastu. In the example, he says, na vaknehe swashaktita. The power to burn is not the fire itself. You cannot say Maya is Brahman. Sat vilakshanatayam. You cannot say the Maya equal to Brahman or Brahman equal to Maya. Now you cannot say fire equal to burning. See, fire is a thing which has the power to burn. You cannot say fire equal to burning. Why I'm saying this example has a limitation, I'm trying to make you understand that. A thing which has a power, in the absence of the power, its existence cannot be absent. In the case of fire, fire has the ability to burn. In the absence of the ability, can the fire exist? In this example, the fire is able to exist before the ability to burn come to itself. In the same way, Brahman has the power called Maya, and therefore you cannot say Brahman equal to Maya. Sat vilakshanatayam, if you say Maya is independent of Brahman, stu shaktehe kim tattvam uchyatam. If Maya has an independent existence, then tell me what is its nature. What is Maya's nature? Kim tattvam uchyatam. Tell me that. It is going to go a little abstract here, as you can see. Can you find heat without fire? Any heat element must have fire in it. Any heat element. So therefore, you cannot say heat is there, but fire is not there. Fire element, I mean, not this physical fire, fire element. So the heat is not independent of the fire. If the heat is independent of fire, what is the nature of that heat? You tell me. It is as much as to say, pot exists without the mud. I mean, some stretch need to be there. It is not the power of the mud to show up as the pot. That's not what I'm saying. But to say that pot cannot exist without the mud. If pot exists without the mud, tell me the nature of pot without referring it to as mud. You cannot do that. In the same way, the fire and the power to burn, cannot be defined by itself. If you are able to define it as independent of the fire, tell me what its nature. In the same way, Maya cannot exist without Brahman. If it is, then tell me the nature of Maya. So the power is independent of the abode of that power. See, if I'm able to speak, it's a power. It's a skill or ability, whatever you call it as. But I can exist without the power also. A person who is unable to speak is not non-existent. If I am able to see, it is the ability to see, the power to see. If that power is not there in me, then do you think that I'm absent? In the state of sleep, I am not seeing anything in a deep sleep. Do you mean to say I don't exist? I have withdrawn my power. That's all. I have withdrawn the power to see. I have withdrawn my power to hear, smell, taste, touch, walk, talk, everything. Even the absence of all my abilities, which all of us possess all the time, as though, but in the state of deep sleep where those various powers of seeing, hearing, etc. are all withdrawn, not expressed at all anymore. Do you mean to say I'm absent? I'm not expressing. Can you therefore say seeing is taking place without the person? Hearing is taking place without the person being. In my absence, hearing won't be there. Seeing everything, seeing and hearing one, and all those faculties will not be there without me. If it is so, tell me how will you define this? So the Shakti cannot independently exist without Brahman. If it is so, what is the nature of that power? Power to create. What is it? Shaktehi kim tattvam uchyatam. Ayam abhiprayah satvastunah shaktihi kim sati udasati na tavat sati tatatve satehe abhinnatvena tat shaktitva ayogat uktarte drishtantamaha dvitiye api kim nara vishanatulya uta satvilakshana iti vikalpa abhiprayena pritchati satvilakshanatayam iti. It is like, he puts the example, Naravishanatulya uta. Naravishana means horn of a man. Can you explain the horn of a man, please? Explain. Describe the. It cannot be. Because its existence is not coming into effect. It doesn't exist, first of all, without that person. So now the question is, what is the nature of Maya? Tell me, explain the nature of Maya. Now, you have to explain the nature of Maya as existence or non-existence. Now, is Maya existence or non-existence? Which one? If you say it is existence, then obviously its existence is independent of everything else. If you say it is non-existent, then there cannot be any effect. A non-existing thing cannot create an effect. So if it is say Maya doesn't exist, then you should not have the Nama Rupa Jagat. The creation itself is invalid, even temporarily, even Mithya Rupena. If you say existence, that means it's independent existence, which is to say it doesn't need anything else. Maya can exist itself. And that is not true. Because without the pure existence consciousness, which is of the nature of existence, if you say it is other than Brahman exists, meaning without existence it exists, you will be making fool of yourself. Without existence it exists. Oh, very good. So its existence, is it existing or it is not existing? Now you see in the next verse, Shunyatvam idi chet shunyam Maya karyamiti ritam na shunyam napi satyadrik tadrik tattvam iheshyatam. Shunyatvam iti chet shunyam Maya karyamiti ritam na shunyam napi satyadrik tadrik tattvam iheshyatam. If Maya is shunyam, is nothingness, absence, shunyatvam iti chet, If the nature of Maya is nothingness, if that is the case, you have contradicted yourself very badly. Look at verse number 34. In 34, you have, not 30, yeah, 34. You said, Vyadadehi namarupe mayaya savikalpite shunyasya namarupe cha tada chejivyatam chiram. You have argued that the namarupa is of all the 5 elements, space onwards. All of them are nothing but the creation of Maya. If you have said that, Vyadadehe of the space, etc. Namarupe, namascha rupascha, name and form. Mayaya, by the Maya. Savikalpite, conjured up. In the same way, Shunyasya namarupe cha tata. And similarly, the names and form are illusively produced by Maya, as much as in the, according to Vedantin, in the pure existence, Nama Rupa Jagat has been superimposed by Maya and makes it appear as reality. In the same way, the same Maya had created name and form on the non-existence. That was your argument before. Which is to say, there is something called Maya which has created Nama Rupa. And you are saying Maya is of the nature of non-existence. And you have just contradicted yourself. How can non-existence create anything? If Maya, Shunyam Chet, if you're saying Maya is Shunyam, this then Namarupa Jagat, the effect of Maya, Maya Karyam, that is also not possible. So now you see another interesting contradiction here is an effect, karya, effect has a particular characteristics. And the characteristics of an effect cannot be said to be all the characteristics of the effect cannot be said to be the nature of the cause. Cause may have, a cause will be able to express through the effect. And the certain nature, the nature of the cause can be found in the effect. But the nature and the characteristics of the effect need not be superimposed on or cannot be the nature of the cause. For cause was before the effect. Let me give an example. A golden chain made of gold. Gold had been before the chain was made. The chainness of the golden chain is not found in the gold. Correct or not? This chainness of the gold is not in the gold. Because before the chain was made, gold was there without chain. So the chainness is the characteristics of the chain, cannot be found in the gold. Similarly, Nama Rupa Jagat, the world which you're saying, which is of the nature of non-existence, cannot be superimposed or cannot be considered as the nature of Maya, the cause. According to Shunyavadin, the world is nothingness. Nama Rupa Jagat is nothingness. The nothingness which you are seeing cannot be the characteristics of the cause. because cause was there much before the effect has come. The mud was there before the pot was made. The potness is not found in the mud. The mud was there before the pot was made, and the potness is a creation out of that mud. In the same way, nothingness, even if you say of the nature of this world, that nothingness does not belong to the Maya. And another simple argument is, from nothing, nothing alone can come. No effect will be there. From nothing, what effect you are expecting? जिस वस्तु नहीं है उससे क्या कार्य मिलेगा आपको? What can be got out of that? That which is not there. So Maya cannot be asat, shunya. The shunyatvam of the jagat does not belong to the Maya. Swamiji, yes. I think I need a whole week to think about it. This is going above my head. It's going above there. That is called philosophy, Vedanta. Vedanta ka what do you call the nature is of Vedanta is, it should make you think much, much deeply and subtly than you usually think. Our usual thinking is at the periphery level, superficial. When you start thinking deeply only, you realize how many things we have not thought, which is there. And knowing which alone, we can understand the nature of this so-called world and its reality, which we have taken it for granted. See, avichara kruto bandaha vicharena nivartate. When a person, individual who did not think and got into a bondage can only come out of it after thinking only. Bondage is created mindlessly. And the release from the bondage can be possible only mindfully. Mindlessly, you cannot be released from the bondage. You can get into bondage mindlessly. Attachment is just no need for a mindfulness. I'm so attached to her. How do I come out of it? Think. That is the only way you come out of it. Because your attachment to an object or a person or your pet is because of mindless behavior. How to come out of that bondage? Think. Mindfully think. Then only you can come out of it. Mindlessly, you will never come out of it. Any habit, mindlessly we got it. How do you come out of it? How do you come out of any habit? Thinking. Why do I need this? How is it important to me? Can I now live independent of that? Why am I attached to it? My existence is because of that only. Can I exist without that? Was I not existing without this? Was I not happy without this? Before it came also, I was happy. Why do I need to put my happiness into this then? सोचना पड़ेगा. सोचो. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.